Good morning, Boston. Okay, I hope everybody had a nice long weekend. Kuhner was obviously off yesterday. Much needed R&R, paid vacation, paid day off. So the Kuhner took it. A lot of news over the last 3 days, a lot to talk about, but without question, arrest her. Arrest her. The U.S. Virgin Islands sends a delegate to Congress. Her name is Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett. Plaskett is not a voting member of Congress. She is a delegate, but she still is the ranking member, I kid you not, of the subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. And here is a Democratic politician, a ranking member no less, who in a Freudian slip said the quiet part out loud. It's time to shoot former President Donald Trump. Roll cut 19, Mike.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
Yeah. She caught herself very quickly. He needs to be shot. Stop. And to me, I think it's pretty obvious. She meant the first and not the second. Who the hell says shot and then flips right away to stopped? So the quiet part was said out loud. Now, in another time, in another age, the Kuhner and many would have been willing to forgive and say, okay, maybe she misspoke. Mistakes happen. I don't see how you could mistake this. Shot and stopped are two different words, but let that go. In this age, where now they're arresting and going after conservatives, Trump supporters, anybody, and throwing them in jail, and they're being indicted and prosecuted and arraigned and arrested for nothing, absolutely nothing, arrest her ass. Arrest her ass. And she threatened to kill a former president of the United States and the leading political opponent of the Biden regime. And look, let's be candid, my friends. Let's put our cards on the table, as the Germans like to say. These are the same Democrats who for 4 years when Trump was in office, for 4 long years, routinely called for him to be murdered, for him to be assassinated, for him to be killed. Whether it was Madonna on the day of his inauguration, saying that she fantasizes about blowing up the White House, and all these idiots with their pea hats, chanting and screaming and clapping and egging her on, to Kathy Griffin with the fake severed head of Trump, to plays in New York City, a Shakespeare in the park, where instead of a Shakespeare character, it's Trump who's being knifed repeatedly, and the crowd cheering them on and clapping, and it went on for 4 long years. And the implication for those 4 years, Trump was a traitor. Trump was colluding with Putin. Trump was Hitler. Trump was a dictator. Trump was a fascist. So much so that they unleashed Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And in the spring and early summer of 2020, right there in front of the White House, across the street, they battled police. They sought to storm the White House, and their chant, "Kill Trump, kill Trump, kill Trump." And all of this violence, all of it, was excused, rationalized, and justified day after day after day by leading Democrats and by the corrupt corporate media. So when Stacy Plaskett said, "Oh no, I was just a little slip. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't shot stopped. I confuse the two words every day." No, this woman is absolutely toxic. She, if you remember, was the one who went after Matt Taibbi and other journalists when they exposed the Twitter files, and they testified in front of Congress. In particular, when they testified in front of Jim Jordan's subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. She's the ranking Democrat. She's the ranking member. And she threatened them, saying, "I want you to divulge all of your sources." Journalism and your ability to defend your sources, out the window. Give us the names. We're going to hunt them down. How dare you expose the collusion of the FBI, the DOJ, the deep state with Twitter and Google and Facebook censoring people on social media? How dare you do that? And so she's the one that openly said, all MAGA Republicans, in other words, you support the America First movement. God forbid you voted for Trump. You are now, in Stacy Plaskett's words, a threat to democracy, a threat to the rule of law. And we must never be allowed to seize or win back power again. This woman, I'm telling you, is one of the most polarizing, divisive, as I said before, toxic people in politics today. And I've got to ask, I've got to ask, how does someone who doesn't even have a voting right in Congress, a delegate from the Virgin Islands, a territory, she gets to be the ranking member on a key subcommittee and gets to spew this kind of vile hatred on a daily basis? And this now brings us to the issue at hand, which is the hate that has been unleashed against former President Trump. Something I have never seen like anything like this in my entire life, in my entire career. What many have now calling Trump derangement syndrome. Well, now it's on steroids. And what are they doing to him? What are they doing to him? They are politically persecuting him. They are prosecuting him. They are committing a political assassination. In other words, what they did to JFK, they're doing to him, except by other means. They're going to do it through the courts, or at least try to do it through the courts. So he has been arrested. He has been indicted on ridiculous charges. And they want to put him in jail. They want him to die behind bars. They want to destroy his business. They want to hound his family. And I want to ask all of you, are we living in some third world banana republic? Where now the party in power doesn't just jail their leading political opponent? Doesn't just stand there and use the legal system, the courts, to persecute him and claim ridiculous violations of the Espionage Act? Espionage. So what secrets did he share with anybody? What spying took place? What classified information did he divulge or release? I don't know, to Russia, to China, to Iran. There is no evidence that he did anything like that. Anything. It's made up. It's a kangaroo trial. It's a show trial. And this woman is leading the charge now, not just to have Trump indicted, but she's finally saying, let's be honest, what many Democrats have been urging, egging on, and saying in private. She just slipped because she said the quiet part out loud. Shoot him. Finish him. Take this guy out. The only party that has been a revolutionary party using violence and extremism has been the Democratic Party. Yesterday was June 19th. And we celebrate the emancipation of the slaves. Well, who emancipated them? It was the Republicans. Who freed the slaves from the Democrats? It was the Republicans. The Republicans are the ones who freed blacks from the chattel slavery. The party of the Civil War were the Democrats. The party of Black Lives Matter and Antifa are the Democrats. The party now that is calling for the murder and assassination of a former president of the United States are the Democrats. And so my question to you, what do you make of Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett's call for Trump to be shot? Should she be arrested? 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Flip it. If this was a Republican, I get it. She's a delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is a territory, not a state. She is a ranking member on the weaponization subcommittee, Stacey Plaskett. So she has observer status, but she can't actually vote. But still, she's in Congress, and she's a ranking member, as I said, on the weaponization subcommittee. If a prominent Republican went on one of the big talk shows and said, Biden needs to be shot, stopped, what do you think the reaction from Democrats would have been? From the entire corrupt establishment media? What do you think? You think Merrick Garland, the DOJ, and the FBI, wouldn't they be talking about charges? Wouldn't they be saying it's illegal to threaten to kill a president or former president of the United States? I mean, this would be the biggest story in the entire country right now. Instead, when it's a them, wink, wink, somebody needs to pull a JFK on this guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I misspoke. Oh, I'm so sorry. Then it was a Freud. It was just a slip up. No, it was a Freudian slip. It was obviously a Freudian slip. Yep. The quiet part was said out loud. So let me ask you, double-barreled question, because now the Democrats are really not holding back. They're openly, in a way, threatening Trump. They're basically telling him, you better back off, man, because if we don't jail you, if we don't imprison you, if you keep going on with your presidential campaign as you insist, because you're getting stronger and stronger in the polls, wink, wink, something's going to happen to you if you catch my double meaning. That's the message now being sent. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Shot stopped. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. Oh, you'll stop him, all right. We know exactly the message that you're sending. So I want to ask you, do you now fear the Democrats that this is a dog whistle? That the Democrats now are giving out a message to their supporters or to some rabid, crazy BLM or Antifa activist, some left-wing terrorist, to go and take Trump out? And should she be arrested? Should Stacey Plaskett be arrested? Or was this just an innocent mistake on her part? Was it just, she just, shot, stopped, hey, these things happen, people speak, and she misspoke. Do you believe it? Or do you think deep down she's saying what many liberals and what many Democrats are fantasizing about? 617-266-6868 is the number. Dave in Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you, sir? I hope you had a very blessed Father's Day with your wonderful family.
Well, I mean, they had me running around doing stuff for the kids, so it was a typical Father's Day in the sense that Daddy was at the whim and disposal of the kids.
Sounds like fun, right? I'm only kidding. Hey, Jeff, how about this, right? Maybe at this point, Trump is so immune to all their attacks, he'll be like Iron Man or Superman. If he gets shot at, the rounds will bounce off him. Who knows? But,
Dave, are you shocked? Dave, before you continue, I promise I'll let you finish. Are you shocked that this would actually come out of someone who's a member of Congress, that would just come out of their mouth like that on a Sunday talk show? Are you surprised?
Well, I am surprised that it happened, but I'm not surprised again, Jeff, because these are how the Democrats are. Do as I say, not as I do. And Jeff, before I go on about Senator Fetterman, I just wanted to make a formal apology for Vincent Price, Oompa Loompa Egghead. My senator can't dress formally for a president, no matter who it is, whether it be Joey Bag of Donuts, like some other show would say, or, he looks more like the Oompa Loompa Egghead, Senator Egghead. But anyway, Jeff, no, I'm not surprised about these Democrats because they have nothing but disrespect for our country. These are the same people that, want to say what's good for them, but not good for us. Jeff, there's an old saying, and I don't know who said it, but it can be rung true to these liberals, the deep state, the swamp, and all the rhinos. It's better to be thought of as a fool than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt, Jeff. But again, I want to apologize on the behalf of real red Pennsylvanians that we sent this Oompa Loompa to the Senate, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Dave, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Fetterman and Biden. You want to talk about the dynamic duo for the Democrats. The word salad. Fetterman, you think Biden is gone. I think Fetterman, if it's possible, is even more gone. But anyway, okay, let me quickly reset, and then I want to go to all of you and the calls next right after this break. Stacey Plaskett, Democrat delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, ranking member on the Select Subcommittee for the Weaponization of the Federal Government. She's basically the adversary of Jim Jordan on that committee, slipped up and said Trump needs to be shot. I'm sorry, stop. What do you think she really meant? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, it's the story the corrupt liberal media, the establishment media, or the media industrial complex, as I like to call them, don't want you to know about on MS Hate BC. And that's what it really has now become. MS Left BC has now become hate media. Stacey Plaskett, delegate, Democrat. She represents the U.S. Virgin Islands in Congress, like the District of Columbia. She can't vote, but she's there as an observer. And for some odd reason, they have made her the ranking member for the Democrats on the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. Well, you know many of your liberal friends, what they say they want to see happen to Trump. We know what celebrities have said repeatedly. We know what BLM and Antifa have called for repeatedly. This time, it was a member of Congress. And here is what she said. I want to play it one more time. To me, this is a red line that was crossed. Roll cut 19, Mike.
Having Trump not only have had the codes, but now having the classified information for Americans and being able to put that out and share it in his resort with anyone and everyone who comes through should be terrifying to all Americans, and he needs to be stopped.
Yeah, he needs to be shot. Oh, stopped. Now, let me tell you what's terrifying. is that this is the kind of language now that is coming. This is a ranking member on one of the biggest subcommittees in one of the biggest committees in Congress. And this is how she's talking about violence against the former president? Now, notice, all of it lies. He was showing the classified documents to everybody. They're coming through Mar-a-Lago. He's giving out the codes, the nuclear codes, or nuclear weapons, everything. He's just giving it all. He's giving it all. Okay, so, first of all, the lies, the hysteria, the gross exaggeration. Okay, but let that go. Let that go. I mean, what is she now, running to replace Schiff as the biggest liar in Congress? Seriously. It's like, what now? Schiff is in trouble, so now you're going to take over the Schiff mantle? Number one. Number two, you're calling for the president to be shot? The former president? Essentially to be killed? Now, I know she knew right away, the moment it came out, like, stop. I meant stopped. No, I know. The first part of what you said is what you really meant. Who are we kidding? So, I want to ask you, because they've now crossed the Rubicon again, another low. Do you fear that Democrats will eventually resort to violence against Trump? God forbid. I don't want it to happen. I think it'll tear this country apart. To me, as a Christian, there's nothing worse than to see someone get, God forbid, be physically threatened this way. I worry for him. I worry for his family. And I certainly worry for the country. But you look at what they're doing to him. It's not working. The Alvin Bragg indictment, his numbers have gone up. The federal indictment on this ridiculous mishandling of classified information, his numbers have gone up. He gets stronger and stronger the more they try to use the legal system to destroy him. So the Democrats now are getting increasingly worried and desperate. Nothing seems to stop this guy. If anything, he keeps growing and growing and growing. And so now it's like, whoa, he's not only going to run through the nomination, he's going to run through Biden and win handily, easily. If all the polls now hold up, he will win in a landslide. And so now it's, you got a Kennedy the guy. You got a JFK the guy. Is this a dog whistle? And are they now hoping and in some ways inciting for violence and, God forbid, assassination? We're now a third world country by jailing our leading political opponents. Are we going to go all the way? Because in those countries, if they can't jail you, you know what they do to you. 617-266-6868 is the number. How low will the Democrats go? That is now the question. Mark in Litchfield. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome. Did we lose Mark? Okay, let's go to, who are we going to go to next? Joe in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Joe, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call. I love listening to your program.
Thank you.
If you listen to what she says up until she makes that final remark, and say she didn't slip up and says, and he needs to be stopped, that doesn't really make sense, stopped from doing what, doing it again. So it seems to me that she added that, and he needs to be, just so she could say, stopped. Doesn't really make that whole, up until that point, it doesn't really, she didn't really make sense when she said, and he needs to be stopped. Even if she said it that way, it still doesn't make sense.
You're dead on.
Doing what?
Oh, Joe, you're dead on. You're not 100. You're 1,000% correct. Look, I mean, if you listen to the litany of what she's saying, before, I don't want to give, it was like a whole minute. I don't want to bore you guys, but she's like, he's giving away the nuclear codes. He's giving away all our secrets. He's giving them to all these countries and powers, and they're just going through it. They're going through Mar-a-Lago, and he's just giving them everything. He's giving them everything. So, okay, well, now he's going to go to court for that. So, no, let me tell you exactly what she said. This is what she says in private. This is what many Democrats say. I know because I get their emails. So I know exactly how they reason. Traitor, classified documents, criminal, dictator, wannabe dictator. Somebody should, boom, boom the guy. He needs to be, taken out. And so she's talking and talking. She's probably a little tired. She's talking, and it culminates into what they say in private. Shoot the guy. And then she's like, I just said this on cable TV, OMG. No, I mean stopped. Oh, you're dead on. You listen to what she said. Stopped makes no sense. And notice, the interviewer pretended like she never said the word shot. Now, what I find incredible is, I don't care, take your pick. If Marjorie Taylor Greene said this about Biden, gone. Lauren Boebert, gone. Matt Gaetz, gone. I don't care, take your pick. I don't care. Lindsey Graham, any Republican, I don't care. If Rand Paul said gone about Joe Biden, gone. I mean, the FBI would be investigating, the Secret Service would be investigating, the DOJ would be investigating, there would be calls for resignation. It would be wall-to-wall media coverage 24/7, Republicans inciting violence, Republicans calling for Biden to be shot and assassinated. Instead, she does it, and, okay, nothing to see here, let's move on. I mean, Joe, am I wrong?
You're right. You're completely right. They look for any way to include just a little, some rhetoric, and then they call it a slip. Oh, she didn't really mean that. She meant this. I mean, and they do it routinely. It's the only thing. Anything to gin up, hatred for Republicans and Donald Trump especially.
Yep, for Trump and his supporters. No, you nailed it. Joe, really good call. Thank you so much for that call. I appreciate it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so why now are Democrat members of Congress, including ranking members on key subcommittees, like Stacey Plaskett, the Democrat delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, why are they now dog whistling and calling for Trump to be shot, calling for him to be killed, to be assassinated? I'll tell you why. Because the indictments are blowing up in the Democrats' face. Trump, unbelievably, continues to surge in the polls. Latest poll from Harvard poll now has Trump wiping out the entire Republican field. DeSantis is now behind by 40 points, but more ominously for the Democrats, it shows Trump with a full 6-point advantage in national polls over Biden. 6 full percentage points. He will win if this poll, according to the poll, the election was held today, Trump would win in a landslide. A landslide. Not just in terms of the popular vote, but with the Electoral College, it would be 350 Electoral College votes. It would be a massive landslide. And the reason why now they are starting to say the quiet part, the disgusting part, the vile part, out loud, inciting violence, inciting hatred, giving a dog whistle, as I said, wink, wink, Hitler has to be stopped before Hitler assumes power again. That's what they're saying. Let's not kid each other. It's because of this. This is their problem, and they don't know how to solve it. Listen now to Joe Biden. This is him at a gun safety summit in Connecticut. Okay, listen to this. Just a couple days ago, I'm I am not leaving anything out. This is what a rambling buffoon he has now become. Roll cut 3, Mike.
There's a lot we have to do. And it takes courage to tell the story that you've been through because, you know, I spent a lot of time as president, and I spent 30-some times visits and many more days in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I watch.
What? What? Everybody in the room, even the local media in Connecticut, and you know Connecticut's practically as bad as Massachusetts. Not quite, but almost. And even the moonbats, even the hardcore libs in the media are like, this guy's shot? I mean, he's utterly incoherent. What is he talking about? He's gone. He's shot. He's gone. But hold on. No. Don't take my word for it. He then ends the speech. And this one is, I'm telling you, this one's a classic. This one, I'm going to start using this from now on. This is a classic. Even his own staff was asked afterwards about this. They are dumbfounded. They go, we don't know. Like, I'm sorry. Even on this, we can't lie or spin anymore. We can't explain this. He ends the speech. He has to be, by the way, led off stage like a child. He doesn't know where to go. Left, right. He doesn't know where to go. Okay? That's how far gone he is. Roll cut 1, Mike.
All right. God save the Queen, man.
Oh. God save the Queen. Okay, I don't even know where to begin. Joe, she's dead. She's dead. There's a king now. There's a king. He was just recently coronated. Joe, you were at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth. You and Jill, you were there. You guys came late. Don't you remember? The British media said how disrespectful it was. How you guys came late to the funeral. They had to bring their own car. It was a mess. Joe, she's dead. Number 1. Number 2, Joe, we settled this in 1776, Joe. Exactly. We're not in England. We settled this in 1776, Joe. Do you understand? Hello? Hello, Joey? Hello? Now, he's in Philadelphia. And I'm telling you, this is the dynamic duo. If I were them, I'm serious. Forget Kamala. Kamala is too smart for the Democratic Party now. She's like the Einstein of the Democratic Party. The cackling and the dope and the marijuana and okay, the disaster that she is. No. It's Fetterman. To me, the ticket is Biden-Fetterman. Listen now, this is in Philadelphia. This is Fetterman trying to introduce Biden. Now, I don't know at this point who's worse. By the way, and Fetterman shows up in some hoodie, some sweatshirt. Like, you want to talk about an absolute slob. I mean, it is, I don't care. Joe Biden, when the president shows up, could you at least put on a suit and tie? I mean, would it? And in shorts. Yeah, you're right, Mike. Yeah, at least put on pants. Okay, forget suit and tie. It's too much for Fetterman. Could you at least put on a pair of jeans? Put on some pants? No, the guy shows up in shorts and a sweatshirt. I swear to God. You tell me if you can make sense of this. Roll cut 6, Mike.
I'm standing next to the president again, next to a collapsed bridge here. And he is here to commit to work with the governor and the delegation to make sure that we get this fixed quick, fast as well, too. This is a president that is committed to infrastructure. Yeah, and then on top of that, the dual kind of law of the inflation bill that is going to make sure that there's going to be bridges all across like this, all across America getting rebuilt.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Honestly, I don't know who's worse. Biden's wife, Jill, or Fetterman's wife or partner, whatever she is, to allow their men to go on like this and make fools of themselves in public. It was so bad, Biden cringed. No, I'm not kidding. Dementia Joe. Joey. Joe. God save the Queen. Joe cringed. It was that bad, watching Fetterman speak in public. So, here, look, I can do this all day. Let me just do one more. So, this is in California now, over the weekend. He's talking about, it's no longer climate change, because the data keeps refuting them. Now, by the way, they're invented a new term. It's speechwriters. It's called climate resilience. I swear. So they went from global cooling to global warming to so-called climate change. Now it's not even climate change. It's just climate resilience. He doesn't even know what freaking year it is. Jeff, come on. It can't be that bad. Okay. Here's Biden. Roll cut 4. Mike.
And maybe most important, I've committed that by 2020, we will have conserved 30% of all the lands and waters the United States has jurisdiction over and simultaneously reduce emissions to blunt climate impact.
Yeah, 2020. Joe, that was 3 years ago, Joe. Yep. Joe, I mean, that's 3 years ago, Joe. I bet if you asked him, I'm serious, this was on a Saturday. I bet if you asked him what day is it today, he wouldn't know. He doesn't know what day it is. He doesn't know what year it is. I thought sometimes he knows what state he's in. I don't think he knows what country he's in at times. This is why Trump can't be stopped with indictments. Yeah, I'm just so. And by the way, here, let me give you another one. I said this was the last one. My apologies. Here's one more. This is why Trump crushes Biden, because Biden is disintegrating right in front of our eyes. His mental, physical decline is so obvious that the country's like, no, he doesn't, we don't know if he can make it to 2024. Never mind re-election. Are you kidding me? That's their problem. Listen to Biden. This is the Gun Safety Summit in Connecticut. Listen to this. Listen to this. And you ask yourself, should this man have his finger on the nuclear button? Roll cut 3. Mike.
There's a lot we have to do. And it takes courage to tell the story that you've been through because, I spent a lot of time as president, and I spent 30-some times visits and many more days in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I watch.
We played it earlier. We played it again. Anyone, I'm serious. I'll give a liberal a full minute. Hell, I'll give you 2 minutes. Can you explain to me what this man is trying to say? No, I'm serious. 617-266-6868. If you're a Biden defender, if you're a liberal, I will give you 60 seconds uninterrupted to tell me what the hell Biden is saying. Because even his own staff doesn't know what he's saying anymore. I mean, it's in stories in the media all weekend. Staff can't defend what he says. Staff can't explain what he says. Staff doesn't know what he's talking about. So this is their problem. Trump is relentlessly marching like a conquering army. Trump and the America First, the MAGA movement, is marching back to the White House. And the Democrats don't know what to do. Because Biden and his regime are unraveling in front of our eyes. And now, they're, okay, shoot him. I mean, if nothing else works, just shoot the guy. 617-266-6868 is the number. So I want to ask you, this is the conversation now the Democrats have foisted upon us, so let's have it. 1, should Stacey Plaskett be arrested for calling for President Trump to be killed? I say yes. What do you say? 2, are the Democrats, is this a dog whistle? Are they now trying to incite violence and, God forbid, an assassination attempt on Trump? I believe the answer is yes. And 3, and above all, when you speak with liberals, when you speak with Democrats, especially friends, family members, neighbors, colleagues, do you believe deep down Stacey Plaskett said the quiet part out loud? That what they really want is not even Trump behind bars. They want him 6 feet in the grave. And is it now the Democrats who will plunge this country potentially into violence? They did it during the Civil War once, and they're willing to do it again. Remember, they broke the country up over the election of a Republican. It was the election of Lincoln that drove the Democrats to secede and break the United States and plunge us into a civil war. David Horowitz, famed author, best-selling author, brilliant conservative thinker and writer, in his book, The Final Battle, says that the Democrats will not allow Trump, or for that matter, DeSantis, but for this conversation, let's stick to Trump, that they will not allow Trump to win in 2024, no matter what. Literally, no matter what. What say you? David in Brookline. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff, and thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
You know, on a side note, I was listening to what you were saying with Brandon when he said, God save the Queen. I think we got to cut him some slack. What he really probably was saying is, God, Jill, I want to go to Dairy Queen. That's what he meant. Jeff, look, you know, you made most of my points, so I'm reaching here, but it's the hypocrisy is everything that they accuse President Trump of, and by association us, 75 million, if not 90 million voters by now, they've either done or would like to do or planning to do. You know, Hillary Clinton said years ago, we can't negotiate with them. President Barack Obama said in 2009, we should share our nation's secrets in NASA with other countries. He was caught on tape saying to, I think it was Medvedev, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
When we're done with this election, you know, we'll work together. Don't worry. We just got to fool the American. Basically, what he's saying is, I just got to fool the voters one more time. And my other point, Jeff, is this. Again, we keep saying, what if one of the U.S. Congress people said that about Biden? Let's be frank. This is Obama behind all of this, directing all of this, day after day after day. What if a U.S. congressperson had a Freudian slip and said that about Obama? Not that I want them to. You don't think this would be 24/7? They'd be up in arms. What if Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House? God knows what she would have done. I mean, I'm not saying Kevin McCarthy needs to be making speeches on this, but certainly, as you pointed out, the FBI should have been over to investigate her. Maybe the Capitol Police. I don't know. Next time she steps foot on the Capitol. But I mean, it's all hypocrisy. And if I could make one final point, because you mentioned it about liberals, family members, friends, whatever. I've listened to people and determined this. It doesn't matter if a liberal has 4 college degrees or no college degrees or somewhere in the middle. They really do think what you're implying they're thinking. They think that President Trump needs to be gone one way or the other. They are suffering, many of them, if not most of them, literally with Trump derangement syndrome. You cannot reason with them. It's quite amazing. And I mean, I like to be an optimist, but I really don't know how this is going to end. And then P.S., Jeff, President Obama, on a side note, supposedly President Trump was joking with a colleague or a friend about documents referring to Iran. Well, we all know one of President Obama's, we think, main goals, aside from bringing down the U.S. economy and enriching himself, was to bury Israel. So one thing they don't want President Trump joking about is, what do we do if Iran gets a nuke? That's one thing that is a red line in Obama's mind, and they will railroad and imprison Trump for that, if they would like to.
Oh, there's no question. Oh, no, there's no question. And David, as always, thank you very, very much for that call. No, look, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but, no one did more to empower and enrich the mullahs, these Islamic Nazis in Tehran, than Obama. He's a Jew hater. He's an anti-Semite. As you put it, he wants to bury Israel. There's no question. And you look at, Obama. Can you imagine if a ranking member of any committee in Congress called for Obama to be shot? Oh, sorry, stopped. Can you imagine what the blowback would have been? Oh, we wouldn't be hearing the end of it. It would go on for days and days and days, and Republicans would be coming out apologizing profusely. And look, she needs to be arrested. I'm sorry. This is now the age that we live in. So if the Democrats want to play by this game, let's play. She needs to be arrested, and she should be kicked off as ranking member of the committee. McCarthy should come in and say, look, I don't care. This was a Freudian slip. I don't care. The moment the word shot came out of your mouth, you're out. You're no longer going to be on the committee. You're out. You're out. You're calling for someone to be killed. You say you misspoke. Okay. You're lucky you still keep your delegate status in Congress, but you're no longer going to be a ranking member. There's certain lines you just don't cross. One of them is calling for the president to be assassinated. So, to me, again, I always say this, where are the spineless Republicans? Because I'm telling you, if the shoes were reversed, they would be raining hellfire on any Republican who said it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Ernest in Worcester. Thanks for holding, Ernest, and welcome.
Good morning. This issue with that delegate saying those words of President Trump being shot, charges should be filed. She should be arrested. Every one of our listeners should be on the phone 9 o'clock, calling your representative, calling your state senator, calling your House. We have to really get on the phone and call, because the spineless Republicans, as you mentioned, they won't say a thing. We, as a people, have to get on the horn and make an issue of this and drive it home, because I'm telling you, that really made me mad. That infuriated me to beyond no belief. They're afraid of him, and if he gets back in office, he better go in there with a sledgehammer and clean house.
That's why they're petrified. That's why they got to stop him at all costs, because they know, as you put it, he is going to take that sledgehammer. He's going to take it to the FBI, to the DOJ, to the CIA, to the deep state, to the Biden crime family, to the Hillary Clinton, to the Clinton crime family. He's going to leave no stone unturned. So that's why they're talking like this. Ernest, let me be honest with you, like I'm in the confessional. Forget a member of Congress. If I, the Kuhner man, said, something like this about Biden or any Democrat, or if I said, they should be shot. Oh, I'm sorry, stopped. I'm gone. Oh, Ernest, I'm so gone. My job over, my career in tatters, and I'm telling you, I would have the Secret Service and the FBI kicking down my door. Instead, with this Stacey Plaskett, well, hey, she made a mistake. Hey, everybody calls for Trump to be shot now. And come on, it's no big deal. It was a mistake. It wasn't. She meant the first word, not the second word. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, to show you how bad things are getting with Biden. And again, this is why the Democrats can see their nightmare scenario unfolding right in front of their eyes, which is Trump winning, even behind bars, winning, even with all the indictments, winning. So it's a good cut. It's better visual than audio. So he's in Philadelphia. He's with the mayor of Philly. And the mayor is trying to show him a live feed. You know, that the bridge, the I-95 bridge that collapsed, big story out in Pennsylvania. So the bridge is collapsed and they're trying to use it. Oh, you see, we need infrastructure and spend all this money on infrastructure. So he wants to show Biden the live feed. Look at the bridge that was destroyed and we're going to try to rebuild it. He's so far gone that Biden walks and he sees a still photo. And he's like, wow, the marvels of technology. This is incredible. With his beetle eyes. The way he just, honestly, he is with his eyes just like, winking like a thousand winks a second. And then he just keeps them wide open for like 10 minutes. So there he is with his beetle eyes. And the mayor's like, no, Mr. President, that's a photo? No, the live feed is over here. And he takes him like, no, you got to come with me to the live feed. The live feed is there. You're looking at a still photo, for God's sakes. Roll, cut, 6B, Mike.
Mr. President, we put up a live feed here. Over here.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? Be able to see exactly.
Actually, the live feed's over here. That's from a few days ago.
Ay. They can't prop him up anymore. They can't. The Philadelphia media, very liberal. We're like, the guy doesn't know left from right, top from down. He doesn't know any. He thinks a photo is a feed. He's going down. And that's why now the Democrats are showing their rage, their desperation, and their hatred for Trump. And that's why now, mark my words, she's the first one to say he should be shot. She won't be the last Democrat. That I guarantee you. 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Sean in Iowa. Thanks for holding, Sean, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great. Good to talk to you again. Hey, I don't think that was a Freudian slip, man. They've done this before. When something terrible happens, they always, I've heard this more than once, that they always tell you what they're going to do before they do it. Well, I think this is another one, and I don't trust them a bit. I think they're that desperate because they know they're going to prison or worse. Treason, you know what the Constitution says about treason. These guys are do or die, and it's not about to stop.
Sean, Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, and his children begged him not to run again in 2024. And one of the key reasons was they said, Daddy, they will not allow you to come back to power. Trump responded by saying, no. We're going to catch him and I'm going to come back. And they go, you don't understand. They will not let you go back to power again. Look what they did to John F. Kennedy. Look what they did to Robert F. Kennedy. They will do the same thing to you. So his family, I know this for a fact, his family is absolutely petrified that the Democrats or the deep state or whoever, some person that they can incite, that they will do whatever it takes, including, yes, assassination, if that's what it takes to prevent Trump from coming to power. It's Grace's biggest fear. My wife has been saying this for years. If they can't jail him, if they can't imprison him, she goes, Jeff, mark my words, there will at least be an attempt. I'm not saying it's going to be successful, she said, but there's going to be at least an attempt. And that's another reason why, Sean, I'm backing Trump all the way. When a man tells you, I'm willing to go to jail for my country, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life behind bars, lose my billions of dollars, lose everything, and now even say, I'm willing to die for my country. He knows the risks. He's not a stupid man. I'm willing to take a bullet if that's what it takes. When you got a guy like that, you back him all the way.
I don't know how he's not been killed yet. I don't know how they haven't done it yet. God must be backing him.
Well, I think he's got God. Honestly, you answered my question. I think he's got, how many tens of millions of Americans praying for him. But he's got phenomenal security. Phenomenal security. By the way, it's a big reason why Mar-a-Lago is his base. Because they got tremendous security and protection in Mar-a-Lago. So they fly him into a campaign event, comes in, gives a speech, back on the plane, back to Mar-a-Lago. And anyway, fingers crossed. Sean, thank you so much for your call. I really appreciate it. Look, sometimes it's just the hand of God. I mean, it just is. So I want to ask all of you, what do you make now of Stacey Plaskett? I hope her name now becomes a household name, because to me, she's an absolutely toxic, disgusting human being. 617-266-6868 is the number. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Thanks for holding, Arthur, and as always, welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, when Biden puts on that act about acting like a fool, which is one of the mafia tricks, of course, they don't ask him about the corruption. But when he's not acting like that, he's been getting the questions on corruption lately. So that may be part of the reason that he put that that act on yesterday, because you can't trust this guy as far as you can throw him. And the problem with people like this lowlife that doesn't deserve the privilege of being in Washington and the privilege of being a rep, because she's certainly not representing her people in the Virgin Islands, because no man has ever done more for the black people other than Martin Luther King than Donald Trump, and they know it. And he'll put all these race baiters and people who act like her out of business. That's one sense of it. And the fact is that I don't know what's wrong with our Republican Party or the Republican committee, because obviously you can't get education in schools anymore. But the Republican Party never answers any charges or just lets things lay when they're some of the worst lies. Now, the Republican Party put Abraham Lincoln out there in 1860. That was 4 years later after the Republican Party was founded. And it was founded because of the Kansas-Nebraska Act that they were opposed to, which wanted to put slavery in Kansas and Nebraska. And Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. He fought to unite the country. And then a few years later, it was Ulysses Grant, another Republican, who turned around and got rid of the Ku Klux Klan the first time. And it was Republicans that always championed civil rights for the black people. And it was the South, the solid South of Democrats, that were the racist and the segregationists. And why isn't this message being put out there over and over in the black community? because until knowledge is freedom, and if you don't have intelligence and you're ignorant, then you'll be enslaved your whole life. I learned that, you learned that, and they've destroyed that in America today. It is sad to see, what has happened to this country, because I'm a witness to it. And as people like me go, and it'll never be the same again. There is no way this country can ever be the same again, because people like that are allowed to flourish in our Congress on the Democratic side. And like the caller said earlier, I'm surprised something hasn't happened to Trump before, because he not only has the enemy of the Democratic Party, he's also the enemy of the Communist Chinese, and they don't fool around.
Arthur, let me ask you this point blank, because you've been around a while, you've an experienced, savvy observer of the political scene. Do you think they're going to let Trump, in other words, will they allow Trump to come back to power in 2024?
Absolutely not. And it's not whether he gets the nomination or not. As I explained to you before, there is no way that they can allow this man in power. It is amazing how people just don't recognize that. They talk about polls and this and that. It's all crap. Okay, we don't have control of our country. In the last 8 years, things have gone from bad to unbelievable. Unbelievable what's going on today.
Oh, I agree. I couldn't agree more. Arthur, as always, thank you so much for your call, my friend. 617-266-6868. I like the way you phrased it. It's gone from bad to unbelievable. Yep, that's pretty much where we are. You can also text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470, or you can email the Kuhner Man. Jeff, really good email. Let's go down memory lane. Let's jump in the way back machine and go back to 1987, 1988. Democrats were screaming in caps that Reagan was in cognitive decline and he needed to step down. Now with Biden, nothing to see here. Move along. Disgusting hypocrites. Oh, I remember that. I remember that. 87, 88, the last year and a half of Reagan's presidency. And they're like, oh, he's gone. He's got dementia. He's in mental cognitive decline. He needs to step down. And he's too old. He's gone soft in the head. Reagan in 87, 88, compared to Biden today, could run circles around Joe Biden. So, again, that's the Democrats for you. If they didn't have double standards, they'd have no standards. 617-266-6868 is the number. Al in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Al, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Al?
I'm doing well. First of all, she should have been already arrested, no questions asked. Second, I work with a lot of libs up here, and they hope that the Republicans start a revolution because they feel that they have the military now on their side, that they can fix the wrong that Lincoln did.
You mean, fix the wrong that what Lincoln did?
Yep. When the war.
Al, can you elaborate a little bit on that? What was the wrong in their view that Lincoln did? That he freed the slaves?
Freed the slaves and changed the United States for a better country for everybody. The silent thing about Democrats is we all know they're racists. They will pat black people on the back. They will say anything you want to hear to Hispanics, the Portuguese. It doesn't matter. They're racist through and through. They want slavery, and this is why they want a one world order, because everybody is a slave.
It's also why they want, and that's also why they want one party rule. They want a one party state. And and I know that. You're right. Look, I get this from liberals all the time, Al. You're completely right. They're itching, hoping that we do something, anything, to justify the FBI, the DOJ, the military, to then crack down on all of us. 50, 60, 70 million, they don't care. Unleash one hell of a massive crackdown. I mean, it's almost like a form of political pornography. These people are sick. They fantasize as putting us in camps, in prison, in dungeons, and the goal. In other words, 1st of January, Sixers, then you. Al, do you fear that the Democrats or the deep state, same thing now, that they will try to do something and take out Trump? Did we lose Al? Okay, I want to ask all of you. Stacy Plaskett now says the quiet part out loud. Your call's next. Okay, you can text us at 70470. This is from 781. Jeff, I find it pretty funny and ironic that the Democrats want to shoot Trump with a gun that they'd want to outlaw. That's the Dems for you. You think they make it, they're all anti-police. They want to defund the cops and, support Black Lives Matter until a Capitol Hill police officer shoots Ashley Babbitt in the throat. When he shoots her and kills her at point blank range, then you kill a Trump supporter. That's our kind of police officer. Nah, that's the kind of cops we're talking about. So, that's the Dems for you. I mean, they should listen to themselves talk once in a while. 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. One line is open if you want to jump on. 617-266-6868. This is from 917. Jeff, the deep state won't JFK Trump with some patsy assassin. That's 1960 stuff. The deep state has far more sophisticated and undetectable methods. I agree, 917. That's why, if I'm Trump, get a food taster. I would be ultra careful. What you eat, what you drink, what medicines you take, just be ultra careful. 617-266-6868. Dan in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Thanks for taking the call, Jeff. I think we're in a civil revolution. That's how I would describe it. We had the South and the North many, many moons ago, and now we have the left and the right. And I have to say that the liberal left has no Robert E. Lees. They don't have anybody that could even compare to the staff that man had. And unfortunately, when you're in a situation like this, and you've got a political juggernaut on the other side in Trump, who basically just keeps coming and marching and pushing and persevering and winning, and you've got the losing liberal camp with someone who's so weak and so feckless and basically very vulnerable and very decrepit and quite honestly, completely a disgrace. And someone that can't even barely, you think about this, Jeff. I think that Biden's security team is protecting Biden from Biden. And they're doing a very poor job of it. Unfortunately, every time you see Biden, you see him falling up the stairs, down the stairs. His staff's got to watch out where the sandbags are. They've got to basically point out every direction that he goes. And when you have a situation where people are viewing such weakness to the point of where it's scary, and they can't even admit to themselves that their side has got any strength whatsoever, because when you speak with a liberal, a lot of them hate Trump, and that's what they just keep on saying and saying and saying.
But when you ask them, geez, does Biden look strong to you? You just get kind of a look, and then they don't say much, and then they skip off to something else. But I'm telling you right now, Jeff, as you say, Trump has something to worry about. These people have nothing but their hides that they want to save, which is, let's face it, if your neck was going to swing and your political career was going to go over and all of what you felt, how great you were doing all the wrong things and lying the way that they have, they are petrified that this juggernaut is coming and there's nothing to stop him, and they're all going to end up behind bars. They're going to end up in jail. They're going to end up wherever they deserve to go, and they know it. They know it. So the fact of the matter is that I really do believe that somebody could very well make an attempt on the president, because that's the end game for them. They've got nothing else. Like I said, this civil revolution that's going on, I mean,
Dan, I want to ask you this, because, no, you make a very interesting point. You know, it was the North versus the South. Now it's the red versus the blue. That's what it's really coming down to. Red states versus blue states. And they hate him. I mean, it's beyond hatred. And look, I am shocked, always shocked, whether it's in text messages, emails, even conversations, whatever I have with liberals. I mean, they want him dead. They want him dead. If they could squeeze his neck themselves, they would. Dan, have you gotten that sense from liberals that you know, that their hatred for Trump is now, it's pathological, it's blinding, it's all-consuming, it's utterly irrational, and now it's violent. It's violent. In other words, when a Stacey Plaskett, you know, a Democrat delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, ranking member on the subcommittee for the weaponization of the federal government, she's now becoming a much more high-profile Democrat in Congress, gives a routine interview on MS Hate TV, MSNBC, and says, yeah, Trump should be shot. He's got to be shot. Oh, I'm sorry, stopped. That they're just now casually just throwing now assassination around, shooting, killing him. Dan, have you seen that from your liberal friends or colleagues or coworkers or family members? Do they hate him that much that they're secretly fantasizing about offing the guy?
I have separated myself from liberals. They don't see the world the way that I see it, unfortunately. And unfortunately for them, they don't have a winning team. If they had somebody with any strength or with any real leadership qualities, they might be able to get off the ground. But unfortunately, the lefty liberal team is they got nothing. And unfortunately, these people see it. So now they've become desperate. And in their desperation, they know the only thing they got is to off the guy, to off this former President Trump, because they know that there's nothing else that they can do, because he's a juggernaut and he's going to blow through them. And to them, it's either their life or his life. And therefore, they're not willing to give up anything that they've got or anything at all. So it's going to be Trump's. And they're fighting for their lives, basically.
Dan, I think you put your finger right on it. Criminals cannot be held accountable. Criminals cannot be exposed. They can't be caught. If they are, they go down. And that's the problem now. They see Trump, the sheriff, coming back. And this time, he's taken no prisoners. Dan, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. No, to me, this is why the Republicans now, it's got to be fast and furious. You want to talk about sound and fury? They've got to hit the Democrats on this so hard that no one will ever utter a threat like that against Trump again. You got to nip this in the bud, man. You can, instead, by saying nothing, you're just emboldening the Dems, encouraging them, allowing them to just continue with these dog whistles and to continue with this obvious incitement. And there's got to be a certain point where the Republicans say, hey, look, really, you destroyed our country once. Do you want to destroy it again? 617-266-6868 is the number. Agree, disagree. Tommy in Brockton. Thanks for holding, Tommy, and welcome.
Jeff, it's wonderful to be back in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. You know, we all celebrate diversity and sharing and caring. And remember, it's for the children. It's for the children. Anyway, I'm enough with my stand-up comedy. That representative, she's not a congresswoman from the Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands, yeah, Stacey Plaskett.
Right. I mean, that was a deliberate Freudian slip of where, well, we must stop Donald Trump. I mean, that's obvious. And I call an AM talk show host in Attleboro, Massachusetts, and the second you mention Donald Trump, he just goes off. And he's always talking about how liberals are people that want to engage with other people, that they're the good guys. Yet if you try and have a rational conversation about Donald Trump, and I did this months ago, I said, listen, if Trump was in Putin's back pocket, then why, when Trump became president, there were three things that he did immediately that would not have helped out Russia. One, he reinstated the missile defense system in Poland that Hussein Obama canceled when he first became president by a presidential order. Two, he put sanctions on the Nord Stream pipeline, which was going to affect Russia. Their biggest part of their economy is their energy. And then the third thing is how he increased our natural gas and oil exports to Western Europe. And all this guy can do is just deflect. It turns into whataboutism. And there used to be a guy on AM, the other station at night, that and he's a liberal. He's no longer on the air, unfortunately. He's a great guy. He would say, you're right. You're right. If Trump was in Putin's back pocket, he wouldn't have done those three things. And like I say, the days of critically thinking are just over within this country. And I don't know. I recently caught up with an old roommate of mine from 40 some odd years ago when I lived in Mission Hill. And it was a case of, well, how'd you make out? He caught up with me through social media. Basically, how did you do in your life? Well, I retired at age 58. I had a successful career in the electricians union here in Boston. Great organization. And I own 3 properties in 3 different states. I did pretty damn well. And then he starts in on me about, so would you sell out, man? And I says, what do you mean, Rob, sell out? I said, Rob, you were the one that used to take me to the Noam Chomsky Howard Zinn lectures. And after you took me to that Howard Zinn lecture, and he talked about we shouldn't have bombed Dresden because it was not a military target. We bombed Dresden to demoralize the German people the same way the German army used to bomb England with rockets. It's not pretty, but we were the victors. We were the good guys. And there's just this leftist mindset of jealousy that if you do better than you were expected to do in your youth. And let me put it this way. As far as this guy, Rob, he's 2 years older than me. I'm 63. He's 65. He's the guy who says table for 2 now. Tom's the guy who lives 7 Saturdays a week. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I did what I was supposed to do, and I'm a former Democrat, and I climbed the economic ladder. And somehow I'm a bad person, according to some of these people. And, I'm just sick of them. Thank you for letting me rant.
No, Tommy, look, and Tom, thank you again. Tommy, thank you very much for that call. No, this is what I find. You're right. I've noticed this from among many, many liberals. They're incredibly jealous if you're economically successful. But when it comes to the politicians they vote for, they can steal 10 million, 50 million, 100 million, 500 million, a billion. They don't care. They defend them to the hilt. And you ask yourself, like, are you getting something out of this? Are you wetting your beak? Are you getting enriched by all of this? I've never seen idiots defend corrupt politicians as zealously as these liberals and Democrats. Here, let's take the guy in the White House. So now it's coming out. Comer is revealing even more. So now it's coming out that Hunter Biden, the Burisma executive, Zlochevsky, the owner of Burisma, opened up a bank account in Malta for Hunter Biden. Now, why is the top guy at Burisma opening up bank accounts for Hunter Biden? I'll tell you why. So they can funnel the money. It's so obvious. Now they're finding out 10 other bank accounts. All of them shell companies or shell accounts, which were sent to Hunter and sent to Joe Biden so they couldn't be tracked. They took money from China. They took money from Ukraine. They took money from Romania. And notice, as Comer is now laying out, every position where Biden was the point man, whether it be on China, whether it be on Ukraine, whether it be on Romania, guess what? When he had access to sell or in policy changes to sell, lo and behold, his family got rich from those countries. My God, what a coincidence. Isn't it incredible? So here you have a guy. Here, the obvious question. Why would someone give Hunter Biden $5 million like this? Why would someone put him on the board $80,000 a month, where Hunter himself in his own autobiography says he's stoned out of his mind? Can't speak Ukrainian, knows nothing about energy. So what, out of the goodness of their heart, everybody seems to love Hunter? Why is he now selling his dreck that he calls art? My 10-year-old Ava, I'm telling you, could paint a better picture than that degenerate. But they're paying him $500,000. And we don't know the names of these people. So what do they think? What do they think they're getting? Why is all this money going into Hunter's pockets? For what? They're just giving him the money away, just like stupidly? Hunter has nothing to sell. He has nothing to offer but access to his old man. Quid pro quo. As well as Joe Biden's brother James, as well as other Biden family members. All you have to do is open your eyes, man. It's so obvious. And the biggest one is China. And you want to know now what the Tricoms are getting for their money? You want to know what $1 billion buys you? Here's what it buys you. It buys you Taiwan. It buys you the White House. It buys you unlimited access to our market. Listen now, Antony Blinken. This to me is a disgrace. Blinken now was in China for a couple days over the weekend. This is one of the biggest stories in the world. He begged to meet Xi Jinping, the genocidal dictator of China. Begged. So, first Blinken gets lectured by the foreign minister. I mean, I'm talking over 5 hours. Chinese media reported all of this, where he's telling Blinken to his face, you must respect China. And you have two options, cooperation or conflict. In other words, you better appease us. And he tells him, let me tell you what our terms are, like they're dictating terms of surrender. Number one, you're not going to decouple the U.S. economy from China. No. No. The manufacturing, the jobs, the intellectual property, everything that we've been stealing, that's going to stay in China, okay? That's number one. Number two, You're going to bend the knee now, and you're going to tell the world that you oppose the independence of Taiwan, i.e., you're going to give us a green light. You're going to tell the world that you're giving us, Beijing, communist regime in Beijing, the green light, the go-ahead. If we want to invade Taiwan, it's ours, and we have every right to take it. After he gets that tongue lashing, he meets Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping tells him the exact same thing. Here are your marching orders. Well, listen to Blinken. After he met Xi, after he met with the foreign minister of China, roll cut 7. Mike.
On Taiwan, I reiterated the long-standing U.S. One China policy. That policy has not changed. It's guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 joint communiques, the 6 assurances. We do not support Taiwan independence. We remain opposed to any unilateral changes to the status quo by either side. We continue to expect the peaceful resolution of cross-strait differences.
This is unbelievable. I'm telling you, this is absolutely unbelievable. He's now just given the Chi-Coms, he's now given the Chinese communists literally the go-ahead to swallow up Taiwan. And now, and by the way, 70% of our semiconductors that we need for our economy are made in Taiwan. Now, you tell me, if China invades Taiwan, economically, we are at the mercy of China. At the mercy of China. Biden just sold us down the river. And by extension, he sold the people of Taiwan down the river. Now, you tell me, why would a president of the United States appease China the way Joe Biden has? The only explanation, there's no other rational, plausible explanation. They own him. They own him and his criminal, corrupt family, lock, stock, and barrel. In fact, don't even take my word for it. How much time left, Mike? Okay, you know what? I'm going to play it on the other side. I want to play a China expert, one of the world's leading experts on China, Gordon Chang from the Gatestone Institute, saying there's no question now. Biden is mouthing the talking points of the communist regime in Beijing. And on the balloon, that infamous spy balloon, Biden now is trying to pretend that the Chinese were not spying when they clearly were. We have a traitor in the White House. And he's not just betraying us to any country. He's betraying us to our mortal adversary and enemy. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, listen now to Joe Biden. Dementia Joe. This is at an airport. He is trying to excuse the Chinese spy balloon. I mean, it's pathetic how they're now groveling and desperately trying to appease Beijing. Listen to Joe Biden saying, no, the Chinese leadership, no, they weren't spying on us. What are you talking about? Roll cut 10. Mike.
I think one of the things that balloon caused was not so much that it got shot down, but I don't think the leadership knew where it was and knew what was in it and knew what was going on. I think it was more embarrassing than it was intentional. And so I'm hoping that over the next several months, I'll be meeting with Xi again and talking about legitimate differences we have, but also how there's areas we can get along.
Yeah, sure. Of course. Yeah, of course. And, you know, now we've sacrificed Taiwan. So now we've told them, you guys want to make a move? Go ahead, make your move. So the manufacturing, keep betraying our country. Intellectual property, keep betraying our country. By the way, have you noticed nothing on human rights abuses? in China. Nothing. Not a peep. Not a peep. Xi Jinping is a genocidal dictator. What he is doing, especially in the western part of that country, in East Turkestan, is infinitely worse than anything Vladimir Putin is doing in Mother Russia or in eastern or southern Ukraine. Nothing. Nothing. Listen now to Gordon Chang saying, what planet is this guy on? Even our own intelligence community has had to admit that the spy balloon was intentional, that they were spying on us. That's why they put him over sensitive military installations. I mean, it's propaganda that you would hear out of Beijing, not out of the mouth of the so-called President of the United States. Listen now to Gordon Chang, one of the world's leading China experts in the Gatestone Institute. Roll cut 11. Mike.
Well, clearly it was intentional. And remember, we're talking about a totalitarian state in China where the Chinese military, which operated this spy balloon, is not a state military. It reports to Xi Jinping directly. I don't know how President Biden could say that, but really what we're hearing are Communist Party talking points from the Oval Office.
Well, that's what $1 billion buys you. That's, I got to tell you, I thought at least our whores in Congress and in Washington, I thought they had, a little bit of a higher asking price. But they're like basically the equivalent of a $10 streetwalker. I mean, $1 billion, that's it? That's what you sell your country out for? To our number one foreign enemy? Yeah, just $1 billion, that's it? That's it? Not 10, not 50, not 100 billion? Boy, you're cheap. You're really cheap. Biden and his family, they're like the cheapest whore in a whorehouse. Just put $10 in front of them and they'll lift their skirt. Believe me. Listen now to Gordon Chang saying, by now sacrificing Taiwan and saying we will not defend Taiwan's independence no matter what. China now is in a severe economic recession, borderline economic crisis, and maybe the only way out for the regime, you guessed it, to invade and annex Taiwan. Roll cut 12. Mike.
Right now, China's economy is in a distressed state. It is not growing nearly as fast as they say. As the economist pointed out, it's going into a double dip. That's a polite way of saying a possibility of a crash. And Xi Jinping right now is held responsible for the distressing economic situation, which means his only way to rally the Chinese people is war. And Henry Kissinger was absolutely right when he said war is more probable than not.
Kissinger is now predicting a likely war, that China will now take over Taiwan. Many governments and countries in the entire Asia region are now fearing a possible invasion and war with China and Taiwan. Appeasement does not work. It has never worked in the past, and it won't work now. Listen now to Gordon Chang saying, by Blinken and Biden coming out and saying, we will not defend or protect Taiwan's sovereignty or Taiwan's independence. He's now giving Beijing all that they need. It's Munich 1938 all over again. Roll cut 13, Mike.
I'm afraid that President Biden's moves to prevent war, with the best of intentions, are actually accelerating it, because he is not saying to the Chinese what they need to hear, which is that the United States will defend itself, its allies and partners, and we will impose unacceptable costs on Chinese aggression.
That's because they own him. I mean, that's why he won't say it. Because the reason why they put him in the White House was to end the trade war with China, to surrender economically to the Chinese, which we're already doing, and to hand over Taiwan. And that's what Joey is doing to a T. So, let me ask you, double-barreled question. Is Biden right? Should we now surrender Taiwan to China? Will he get us in another disaster in Asia? 617-266-6868. Ben in North Andover. Thanks for holding, Ben, and welcome.
Jeff, hi. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to answer me honestly like you're in the confessional. What's more likely, that Trump gets jailed for one of these criminal indictments, and a Democrat wins the presidency in 2024, or Trump beats all 37 counts, wins the White House in 2024, and then drains the swamp, and in the process he jails some of those people and also entangles Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. They all go to jail. What's more likely in your mind?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of wild cards. I mean, if you're asking a serious, honest question, or if you're just trolling, again, with you, I don't know what's serious. That's your problem. No one takes you seriously after a while. But if you're asking, look, the 37 counts are BS. As I said, as I laid out to you last week, Judge Amy Jackson Berman, who ruled on the Clinton secret tapes, the classified tapes, clearly stated under Article 2 of the Constitution and the Presidential Records Act that presidential records belong to the President of the United States. So if you go by precedent, you go by law, you go by the Constitution, the 37 counts should be dismissed. Now, we'll see. There are many other problems with the indictment, but just so on many counts they can be dismissed. So we shall see. What I think is obvious, Ben, if you're being, if you're going to be frank yourself, Trump's poll numbers aren't going down; they're going up. And in a head-to-head matchup, he destroys Biden. Your guy is unraveling in front of the world, completely. You may not want to see it, but the whole world does. So if Trump comes back to power, here, look at Kuhner. Kuhner over the weekend now has now said there's overwhelming evidence, not just of 10 phony bank accounts and 20 shell companies, but now he's saying there's no question Obama knew about all of this. That Obama empowered and allowed Biden to run a massive influence peddling scheme in which he and his family enriched themselves to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. As Kuhner said, now the evidence is overwhelming. Obama knew, and he allowed it to happen. And the reason why he allowed it to happen, which is something you and the Democrats don't want to talk about, is Obama is worth $1 billion today. He's like a Russian-style oligarch. Now, how did he get $1 billion on a president's salary? How did Biden literally make hundreds of millions of dollars a year on a $175,000 a year salary? Why was Hunter Biden and other Biden family members literally given tens and tens of millions of dollars over many years when they had literally nothing to offer? So if Trump, and I'm being honest with you like I'm in the confessional, gets back to power, all of this is going to be completely exposed. It's already being exposed now, but if Trump comes back, he's going to go after every single one of them. Now, you tell me, you think the deep state's going to allow it? You think the Democrats are going to allow it? Your people are already calling for Trump to be shot, to be killed, to be assassinated. And it's 18 months or whatever it is, 14 months from the election. So I'll tell you this, you guys are indicting him like you fear he will put many of you in jail.
That long filibuster, what is it? You believe that Trump is more
I gave you my answer. Look, honestly, Ben, I can't do this low IQ thing with you. I've answered it to you already.
Ah, okay. All right.
You didn't get it? No?
I get it. I'm just surprised you think liberalism is a mental disorder. You believe that?
Well, why? Look at you. You're Exhibit A. You voted for Joe Biden. And you still would vote for Joe Biden. And this is what I find. Here, let me ask you. Here. Since we're in the confessional, here, let me ask you. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Kennedy name, a liberal's liberal, challenging Biden. Will you vote for RFK over Biden in a Democratic primary?
Yeah. Jeff, I'm going to surprise you. I'm for RFK Jr.
I don't believe you.
I listen to him on.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And I'll tell you why I don't believe you. Because he's the one that says the power of the deep state must be dismantled, just like Trump. He's the one that says Big Pharma has Biden and Democrats in their back pocket. So the policy positions that he has directly taken have been opposed by you every single step of the way. No. You're not supporting RFK Jr. I don't believe you.
I've listened to him twice, once on Breaking Points and once on Joe Rogan, and I like what he stands for. I like that he wants to try to go after the fact that our kids are basically in a toxic soup, and he's an environmentalist. That's what I like about him.
No. Right. Hold on. Forget the environmentalist stuff. What about the deep state? What about how he says the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ have gone rogue, and that they're crushing the civil liberties of Americans and illegally spying on their opponents, and that they need to be utterly dismantled? What about that?
I agree with that.
Really? So hold on. But when Trump says he's going to do it, it's a conspiracy theory. When Trump says he's going to do it, oh my God, how can he say that? So what is it now? Is the deep state a threat or is it not a threat?
Jeff, he had 4 years to do it. Did he do it? And let me ask you, did he do it?
No. Hold on. Let's not get into the 4 years. Let's not get. What happened when he fired James Comey? What happened? They sucked the Mueller report on him. They suck a special counsel on him. Don't tell me the subversion and sabotage of his presidency. Nobody was sabotaged more than Trump by the deep state. Are you kidding me?
I think the deep state has it out for both parties. They want to stay in power.
Right. Oh yeah, they have it out for Joe Biden. Why? Tell me, if they have it out for Joe Biden, why did they cover up the Hunter Biden laptop for him?
They thought that he was probably the better candidate over Trump. I agree with you on that.
So what now? The deep state picks and chooses? Huh? And you're okay with that? So the deep state now decides who's an acceptable president and who isn't?
The Twitter files prove that. The Twitter files showed that they sometimes go after the Democrats as well.
Yeah, who do they go after? Which Democrat outside of Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr.? Who else do they go after?
You just named it.
I just named it too. I know. And they're both against the establishment, and they're both against Biden, the guy you voted for, the guy you helped foist on this country.
Anybody who's against the establishment, Bernie Sanders was railroaded.
Yes, and you voted for Biden. You just made my point. Liberalism is a mental disorder. 617-266-6868 is the number. Paula in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Paula, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Paula?
I'm not going to complain other than the weather. This is like fall to me. I'm in my winter clothes. You know, Jeff, I called about Taiwan. And now you got me going about this whole thing. First of all, we've known this for a long time. Who was the one who talked about Taiwan? It was Trump that said this a while ago. And what they did to Trump on his first term, shame on all these liberal maniacs out there. If we ever did to Biden what they did to Trump, we would have protests and riots through this country. But we as conservatives, we have taken the blows, and we will not take these blows anymore. We will make sure this man is back in the White House, that he's going to win again, and he will turn this country around. When Hannity asked D. Sanctimonious here about how long it would take you to change the country back, he said 8 years. Trump said 6 months. 6 months, 8 years? Because why? All these people who are running on the Republican side are taking that dirty globalist money. Make no mistake, people, they are part of the Rhino Club. all these people in Washington that retired get these big fat pensions who have destroyed this country, that my husband and I, who are retirement age, we don't have a big fat pension here. My husband's going to be 75, still works full time. He lost because lockups. And what they did to that president, China, Clinton sold all our documents and our secrets to China when he was president. Oh, come on, Jeff. This has been going on for centuries. They've been selling our secrets to other countries. RFK, I still love Trump. Trump is my man for president. Make no mistake. But when you watch the parallel between these two men and how they're coming out in forces now here, I respect them, but Trump is my man. I will
agree.
always stand.
Paul, I got to tell you, Trump's my man, but I have a lot of respect for RFK Jr. I do. I agree with him on some issues, not on others, but he's a man of immense courage. He's a patriot. He loves America. There's no question about it. He reveres the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. He was censored. He was muzzled. He was silenced. And now these very liberals are calling the show saying, yeah, I'm an RFK Jr. guy. Right. Where were you when it counted? That's what I want to know. Paula, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Russ in Boston. Thanks for holding, Russ, and welcome.
Jeff, China appeasement is a slap in the face for those of us who lived by the Truman Doctrine and kept the communists at bay. And I'm so sick of it. It's time to pressure the deep state to stop buying technology products from China and sharing technology with China. Our government whores and corporate America have sold us out down the river. And there's no question, under the leadership of Joe Biden, we are on the eve of destruction. Now, originally what I had called for was this. Let us never forget, the scumbag John Kerry said in reference to President Bush, he said, if President Bush, anything happens to President Bush, the Secret Service is ordered to shoot Dan Quayle. No outrage at that time and no outrage today either after what that woman said in reference to Donald Trump. There were two Americas, one for the patriots and the other one for the extremists.
Russ, I completely agree with you. I want to ask you this, because I led with this, and I don't want to accept this as the norm now in American politics, because I'm seeing a descent now into, we're becoming a third world banana republic. We're descending into one right in front of our eyes. Stacey Plaskett, ranking member on the subcommittee for the weaponization of the federal government, a high-profile Democrat now, doing a lot of talk shows, said that Trump should be shot. Then she changed right away and said stopped. But clearly she meant what she said. Do you fear that the Democrats will resort to violence to stop Trump from winning in 2024 if they can't put him behind bars? In other words, could we see another JFK, God forbid, scenario?
Jeff, let's put it this way. Will they try to kill him? There's no doubt in my mind. The question is, will they get away with it? And I think with Trump, he not only has to have the Secret Service around him, but he has to have his own people that he can trust around him for protection. But there's no question that the deep state is going to try to kill him, because they have too much at stake here. These people are guilty. We've got many people in our government that should be in jail, and also in corporate America. So there's no question. And for what they did to him, if he gets back in power, they know he's going to get even. There's no question about it. So, and again, I had said this on the radio a week or two ago, okay? Anybody that is campaigning against Trump as a Republican, okay, they are playing into the deep state. I'm sorry, every one of them.
Russ, you're entitled to your opinion, my friend. You served our country courageously, patriotically, 2 tours in Vietnam. God bless you, Russ. And again, please Keep calling, Russ. You're one of our best callers. 617-266-6868 is the number. David in the great state of Kentucky. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, David?
I'm good. Hey, let me just say this. If I, you, and Grace were in a restaurant having dinner, and no disrespect to Grace, I would look deep into your eyes in a non-sexual way and tell you what a great patriot you are.
Thank you, David. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hey, listen, on China, I would say no, don't do anything because I'm just saying this. If you do anything against China, and I've written this on Facebook, it'll be economical suicide for the United States because I go all over the country. That's kind of like how I came to learn about you all, is being up in Boston and everything. I'm probably the only person in Louisville, Kentucky knows what a star market is. but anyway, I go over the country and I see a lot of things, and I see plants that are closed. And if anybody knows anything about Foxconn, which is in China and probably employs, we're talking about one of the biggest companies in the world that employs people at Foxconn, where they make a lot of stuff or whatever. But if you go to there's a plant, there used to be a GM plant just outside of Cleveland, Ohio, off of Interstate 80. It was a GM plant, and they closed it down. But if you go by it now, you'll see signs that say Foxconn. And then the battery plants are building outside of Louisville, Kentucky. You might as well call it, it's a Ford battery plant. You might as well call it faux China, because Ford is going to need all the minerals from China to make the batteries. So if you go against China or you try to do anything against China, you're only going to hurt the United States economically, because if you go into a Walmart and you look at things, which I've done, just look at women's clothing or men's clothing or toys, China, Egypt, anywhere else in the country except pretty much not ours, that economically you would commit suicide in this country if you went against China or did anything against China, and China knows it too. That's why no one's going to do anything against China, because it would just be economically suicide.
David, no, I hear you. I hear you, and look, it's a very rational, strong argument that you're making. But to me, I think it's a two-way street. In other words, why don't we tell the communist Chinese, okay, you guys have access to our market, but you had a lot of jobs in China that depend on access to our market. So if you invade Taiwan, we're just going to turn off the tap and your economy will sink. I mean, overnight, your economy will implode. So in other words, they have leverage, but we've also got a ton of leverage. Yet we're not willing to use anything to deter them. In fact, if now we've given them a blank check. I mean, carte blanche, as the French say. We've given, you want to take Taiwan? Take it. You want to continue to menace other countries, the South China Sea? You want to stand there and harass our ships? Take it. You want to keep dumping goods in our country? Take it. You want to keep stealing our intellectual property? Take it. So we're not pushing back at all. And my big fear now, David, is they make their move on Taiwan. Most of our semiconductors, and you know this better than anybody, David, they're made in Taiwan. So if China gobbles all that up, what are we going to do? Our whole economy is based on semiconductors. So I can't believe that Biden is now giving away the store and telling them, you want to invade Taiwan? We won't lift a finger. Go ahead.
It's kind of like when I heard Biden. Are you still there?
Yes. Keep going, David.
When I heard Biden talk about the semiconductor plants, and they're going to, they're going to be paying $100,000 for the average person that doesn't have a college degree, blah, 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 blah. He goes, we'll be making chips that go into phones and TVs and stuff like that. So they're going, we don't make phones and TVs. What are you talking about? We don't make phones and televisions. And if you really want to, if the people in this country, which I think don't do enough protesting or standing up for freedom and standing up for what they should stand up for, if they want to just boycott Best Buy shop wherever you want. Just boycott Best Buy because everything you buy at Best Buy is pretty much made in China. So if you want to hurt China in some way, we can do it ourselves. We can start doing it ourselves. Just don't shop at Best Buy. Go get everything somewhere else, but just boycott Best Buy because that's who carries most of the electronics.
David, I would add Walmart, Target. I mean, you go anywhere, everything is made in China. No, you're right, David. You're completely right. David, thank you very, very much for that call. No, I got to tell you, really, again, like I'm in the confessional, I swear to you. I used to, I'm a big Buy America guy, Buy American. You can't, outside of My Pillows, I can't find anything made in the United States. So now it's gotten to the point, I'll buy from Honduras, I'll buy from Nicaragua, I'll buy from Egypt, I'll even buy from Vietnam. Okay, let the Vietnam War out, the hell with it, forget about it. It's like, I just won't buy from communist China. And even that's becoming hard. It's like, geez, do the Chinese make everything? Because they have slave labor. So their labor costs are so low, nobody can compete against slave labor. And that's what's killing us. And that's the big advantage the Chinese have. So Trump's answer, rightly, is, okay, hit them with a big tariff. So then their labor costs are going to be up to our minimum wage because you impose such a big tariff on them. And then they have to play at a level playing field. And most of the stuff they make in China is junk. It's garbage. The craftsmanship is shoddy. But it's just so freaking cheap. Well, take that advantage away. Bye-bye China. And that's what Trump did when he waged his trade war. And notice what the Democrats and the rhinos did. They didn't side with Trump and America. They sided with China. That tells you everything you need to know. So to me, forget buying, American. Those days are long gone. I buy everything that's not made in China. I don't care what. Bangladesh, Pakistan. I'm not kidding. Okay, well, hey, it's not made in China. Grab it while you can. 617-266-6868 is the number. Your reaction, your response, next. Let me just ask all of you, throw this little log on the fire, as I like to say. When you go shopping, I don't care where it is, David in Kentucky was talking about Best Buy. It's Walmart, it's Target, wherever you go, whatever it is. Am I the only one? What is it? Bass Pro Shop. I like to take Ashton to Bass Pro Shop. He likes to get some fishing gear or whatever. Everything is made in China. I'm telling you, it's gotten to the point now, I don't care where it's made. It's made in Central America. It's made in Europe. It's made in, as Obama would say, Pakistan. As long as it's not made in China, take it, Ashton, take it. I can't believe how everything now is made in China. Am I the only one that's noticing this? 617-266-6868. Stephen in Newton. Thanks for holding, Stephen, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm the bumper sticker guy. I don't know if you remember me. I have plastered my bumper stickers all over my car. Magnet bumper stickers. My newest one is Love is Love. Democrats love taking my money. So.
Now, by the way, does your car get, you're in Newton, my friend. That's serious, hostile, liberal territory. Has anybody vandalized your car or?
They're magnets. I take them off wherever I park.
They're magnets. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought if they're actual stickers, I'm like, poor Steven.
No.
You'll see your windshield smashed in, your car keyed, your tires slashed. Hell, it could be firebombed. You're in the bank and all of a sudden, like, what the hell happened? Steve, your car's in flames.
Well, anyway, yeah, I teach online, and I have a student in Japan, and she teaches in Japan, and she's moving back to Canada, in the end of September. And I asked her why, because she told me China is repping up their military every day, and it's really imminent that they're going to attack Taiwan within 2 years, she said, 2 to 5 years. And she told me that the U.S. and Japanese are building military bases in southern Japan. And so it doesn't look good. So I hopefully that doesn't happen, but just wanted to share that.
Stephen, I mean, I know the Japanese media is petrified that China's going to invade Taiwan. They believe it's imminent. What do you make of Blinken basically giving away the store, telling publicly, saying, nah, we don't know. If Taiwan's sovereignty, Taiwan's independence, no, we're not going to lift a finger. Absolutely not. We're completely opposed. They've now given China what they want, a green light. Do you think now war is inevitable? Not us against China, obviously, but that China now will invade and take over, swallow up Taiwan?
It looks like it. I of course, I hope not, but I remember what Blinken said, we don't support Taiwan's independence. And I'm looking at that video, I said, what? It's a democracy. You're supposed to support a democracy. That's what Democrats are for, supporting democracies. And I was baffled by that.
Oh, Stephen, so, you're dead on. You're dead on. Yeah. Stephen, thank you very much for that call. And have you noticed there's no Taiwan flags all over social media? I don't see all these moonbats flying the Taiwanese flag. Have you noticed that? Unlike the Ukraine flag. And if you want to compare, I'm just saying, Taiwan, a hell of a lot less corrupt than Ukraine. It's not the money laundering center of the world. No lucrative business deals and consulting gigs for the Biden crime family. Notice, if you're not throwing money around and bribing politicians in Washington, boy, it's incredible how they don't come and rush to your defense. Huh? It's just incredible. And unlike Ukraine, Taiwan's a real democracy. They don't throw reporters in jail. They don't arrest priests and nuns and monks, forgive me. They don't close down monasteries and churches. They don't ban political parties, as that tin pot dictator Zelensky has been doing in Ukraine. So, unlike Ukraine, Taiwan is a real democracy. But the libs don't seem interested in that. 617-266-6868. Here was Taiwan's mistake. Pay to play. And I guess they just realized we can't compete with the Chi-Coms. The money they put on the table, we can't match it. By the way, many of you are texting in, Jeff, Home Depot. Almost everything in Home Depot is made in China. Tell me about it. Like really, it's just rakes. Like we can't make a lousy rake. Wheelbarrows, hoses. Like what? We can't make a hose? I mean, it's just what? No, we can't do that anymore. 617-266-6868. Water sprinklers. I'm like, made in China. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. No, a lousy water sprinkler for the backyard? No, that's too much now. Maureen in Boston. Thanks for holding, Maureen, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I'll be very short and just say that you are not the only one who finds everything made in China. No matter where I go, even items that used to be something you'd be buying for the children, very special, from FAO Schwarz. Made in China now. Alex and the jewelry. Made in China. It's horrifying. But we have to wake up and not buy it. Yes, we will spend a little more for things made in America, but if we love our country, that's what we have to do.
Maureen, please don't get me wrong. By the way, you're completely right. You have no idea how much I agree with you. I want to buy American. I go out of my way to buy American. Like, for example, I don't know, T-shirts, underwear, jeans, I'm just giving you examples, sneakers. I can't find anything made in America. I don't know if you noticed the same thing, Maureen. So now I'm like, well, it's made in Honduras. Okay. Well, hey, half of Honduras is already here through illegal immigration. So I figure, what the hell? They're fellow residents. You know what? Let me send some money back to Honduras. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm like, at this point, I'm not even picky. I'll buy from any country in the world except China. And even then, I'm like, boy, like nobody makes shirts anymore. Nobody makes jeans anymore. Glasses, like where you drink from. It's all made in China. A lousy drinking glass. I'm like, is everything made? A deck of cards. Ashton wanted cards for something. I forget what it was, Maureen. I bought it. I swear. I didn't even think about it. Just buy the deck of cards. And then as we're walking out, it's Ashton who looks at it and says, Daddy. I'm like, yeah, Ashton. It's made in China. I go, come on. He goes, no, I'm telling you, Daddy. Cards are playing poker cards. Cards are made in China. So, Maureen, I'd love to buy American. Can you just tell me where?
Well, when I go into the paper store, I will look around, and the people there, the one in Quincy, are very nice. And I'll say, where can I find products made in America? And they do show me that there are some, and that's what I'll buy. I refuse. But even their cards, you have to be very careful. Hallmark cards, made in China.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Hallmark cards are made. Please don't tell me they're made in China.
You have to look at the back. Some of them are. Yes.
Even the Hallmark cards are made in China. The happy birthday cards. Incredible.
So I guess maybe we'll make our own cards.
Yeah, no, make them at home. No, really. Maureen, thank you very much for that call. And am I the only one that's noticing this? And am I the only one now? Forget, I'd love to buy made in America. I told you, now I'll buy third world. I'll buy from any country on the face of the planet. 617-266-6868 is the number. Tony in Weymouth. Thanks for holding, Tony, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff, my fellow patriot. Always great to join you. Jeff, every day it's something. It's kind of crazy. We turn on your show first thing at 6 o'clock, and it's something else. And, of course, now we have this Congresswoman, Jeff, who says, okay, shoot President Trump. And, I mean, unreal. I believe, really, that we can just forget about the Washington swamp, Jeff. I mean, these swamp creatures, forget about calling them and the whole thing, because they're not going to do a darn thing. I mean, this woman should be arrested. I mean, that's a clear crime, right on TV. It's an absolute disgrace, beyond belief. But the thing is, Jeff, is that, as I've mentioned it many times, we have the standout every Saturday, 9 to 1 in Weymouth, on the Front Street overpass. What we're doing here, Jeff, this has to happen across the whole country, and that includes Alaska, Hawaii. I know you have listeners all over the country and around the world as well. I've heard them call. Jeff, people got to get out there with their American flags, their Trump flags. He's probably got, Jeff, I would say, upwards of 120 million supporters, and that could actually be a low number at this point. I mean, everybody wake up, get out there. I mean, everybody in their community needs to just get out there, Jeff, and just show that support on at least a weekly basis. If you can do an hour or something out there, or walk around with a Trump hat or a shirt, or, show that support. Jeff, I think, even with the 4th of July coming, we should get Independence Month like they get their Pride Month, the left wingers. Can we have a month? We get a day, but let's get out there. We're celebrating our independence as a country and America's birthday. Jeff, I think it's time that, everybody needs to just get out there. Are people sleeping? I don't know.
You know, look, I got to tell you, that's the question everybody keeps asking. You know, what is it with, many Americans? Like, are they just itching to vote in 2024? And they just want to settle it democratically, legally, peacefully? Because I agree with you, Tony. There's an army now, an army of Trump supporters. Everybody can see that. No, Tony, look, I'm not trying to humor you or, pat you on the back. I'm being dead on it. I mean, I'm being dead serious. I'm being as honest as I could be on you. Like I'm in the confessional. If I had 10,000 people as patriotic as you and the Patriots of Weymouth, I'd have an empire. I mean, there's just no question about it. If people were as vocal and as proud and as courageous and as public and as determined and fierce as you and the Weymouth Patriots, we wouldn't have a problem in this country. So I don't know what people are waiting for, Tony, but we're starting to run out of time.
What it is, Jeff, too, is that, what we feel is really, and people need to feel, is that they're taking the country away from us. And, Jeff, let's go back to fundamentals here for a minute. The country belongs to us. Excuse me, but the country belongs to us. And do people forget that or realize it does belong to us? And if they're taking something away from you, something that belongs to you, then it's our right to take it back. I mean, and we're the only people that can do it. I mean, these people are bought and paid for in Washington, Jeff. The cat's out of the bag. I mean, go down the list of names. I mean, they're all bought and paid for.
No, you're dead on. You're dead on. Tony, as always, thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for your call. No, look, I think, and I'm going to talk about this more tomorrow, I promise. Americans, not this audience, obviously, and many Trump supporters, I'm not saying that, but, many Democrats, many rhinos who keep saying, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Let's move on from Trump. Let's move on from Biden. Let's just move on. No. How can you move on from corruption? How can you? And to me, I think the thing that scares me the most is how many Americans now are unwilling to face the public corruption, the rot at the heart of many of our institutions. Whether it be the CIA, the FBI, the DOJ, our government, Congress, you can't look away from that because like a cancer, it's just going to grow and grow and grow until it kills you. Diane in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Diane, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It is an honor to be on your show. We listen every day. This is my first time call. I had to call in too. Thank you. There's 2 bagel shops in Newmarket, New Hampshire. And we went in one of them this past weekend. My husband had a Trump hat, and they told him to take it off, and they did not want to serve him.
Are you serious?
It got to the point, yes. It got to the point where my husband said, I'm not taking the hat off. You can call the police. And to keep it at a minimum, we left. But I ended up saying at this point, everybody in the store was hearing me, God bless America. You're going to have to pray, America, because it's come to this. And there's 2 of them, and we just went out and bought the bagel in the shop next door.
Diane, can you do me a big favor? Can you give me the name of the bagel store and exactly where it's located?
Well, it's on Main Street, and it's a bookstore. So I don't know. I just said that to my husband, too. I could try to Google it real quick if you want to.
Do me a favor, Diane. Please call back again tomorrow. Get me the name and the address. If they're now denying service to Trump supporters or to conservatives or MAGA Republicans, I want everybody to know who these people are, with their business, so we will boycott it. I want everybody to know. So nobody goes to that, whatever, bookstore, bagel place, that cafe, I assume it's a cafe inside of a bookstore, and say, you know what? You want to discriminate against us? No problem. We're going to discriminate against you, and you're going to go the way of Bud Light. I gotta go. Bye-bye.